Isaac Childres, owner of Cephalofair Games.
So Isaac, talk about your board game phenomenon, Gloomhaven. Where did the idea for this game come from?
I've always been a big fan of dungeon crawl games, or D&D. So I play a lot of those games, but there's a lot of like randomness and dice in those games, and I just wanted to have that same feel of a dungeon crawl, but like have all these other cool elements in it that like I wanted in it, right? So more like decision-based combat and all this other cool stuff with the campaign, and I don't know, I just wanted to make my own dungeon crawl game.
It's really cool because like you were a fan of D&D and like incidentally you created your very own D&D universe in a way.
Yeah, it's very important that I created sort of my own worlds that I could call my own, and a lot of people just, they want to do fantasy, they'll just do like generic like orcs and goblins and elves and stuff like that, but I figured like why let J.R.R. Tolkien have all the fun, like when you can create your own world and create your own races.
And your game was successfully funded on Kickstarter, the very first Gloomhaven. Talk about crowdfunding in general and how that opened up all this whole world for Gloomhaven and your business.
Yeah, so Kickstarter it's been vital to my business, right? So I started with like a couple $1,000s with my first Kickstarter, right? And that allowed me to do enough to launch a Kickstarter and actually get enough money to actually print the game, which I never would have been able to do on my own. And yeah, just being able to like self-publish, right? Because something like Gloomhaven, which is just like this crazy idea, it's this giant box, no traditional publisher would ever like gamble on that sort of thing. Yeah, and it's over $100 MSRP, which was just like unheard of like a few years ago. But yeah, just to be able to go to Kickstarter and say, hey, I have this crazy idea, like who's in? And just getting all these fans to come and say, yeah, that's awesome, like I want in on that, and just to be able to then see like your crazy dream come alive. Like Kickstarter has been just instrumental to seeing all that come to fruition.
Do you remember the moment where you were on Kickstarter? Because I can't remember, it was a while ago. Was it a slow burn, or was it you woke up one morning, looked at your backers and went, holy shit?
Well, yeah, so we ran 2 Kickstarters for Gloomhaven. One was in 2015, and that one, I think it funded like pretty quickly as well. I've always had like this really nice Kickstarter reviewer, Rado Runs Through. He's always like been in my corner. He loves all my games, so he did a really nice review of it when it came on Kickstarter, and I think that really helped like just push it forward. So that first Kickstarter did like really well, and then that second Kickstarter, which came like after the game had been out and all this buzz was building about it, and everybody wanted a copy, but there weren't any copies left. And I launched that, and it's like you hit like 1 million like in the first day. You're just like, oh crap, like this is gonna be huge.
I remember on eBay, like the Kickstarter stuff was going for thousands of dollars, like the exclusive stuff. It was crazy.
Like right at that point, before I launched the Kickstarter, before I launched that second Kickstarter, when everyone wanted a copy and couldn't get one, the prices got a little crazy on eBay.
So what are you showing here at PAX specifically with Gloomhaven?
This is sort of a new audience for us. Obviously PAX is more of a video game focused crowd. So yeah, we're just trying to like come in here and like announce ourselves, like this is Cephalofair, we've got Gloomhaven. So we've got Gloomhaven, and then the first expansion, which came out a few months ago. And then we're also selling pins as well, because people at PAX love pins, so we've got some of those. And then we're also sort of debuting the digital game as well, which is being published by Asmodee Digital. But it's Gloomhaven related, so we decided we'd show it off here. Also like to draw people into the booth with a video game, and then tell them about the board game as well.
Talk a little bit about the video game. What are the challenges of taking such a deep, complex board game and transferring it digitally? Does there certain stuff that works in the board game that doesn't work in the video game, and vice versa?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think it's always been sort of a thing that was bound to happen, right? Because like Gloomhaven itself is in a lot of ways inspired by video games, so it naturally makes sense to like make a video game out of it. But yeah, in terms of like differences, I mean, obviously like with Gloomhaven, there's no automation So players have to control everything. When monsters move, I mean, there's decisions that you need to make in terms of like monster movement, and so all of that is done for you in the digital game, which is nice, right? So monsters move how monsters would normally move in a video game, right? No one's ever controlling them. Anyway, going off the rails, but anyway, yeah, there are definitely some differences, but I think they're like small. Like this experience is still the same. Like it's that same core mechanic of taking your cards and doing the top action of one and the bottom action of the other.
Is it cool to see this idea you created become a video game?
Yeah, I mean, like, when I was a little kid, like, I think most little kids are like, yeah, I want to make video games when I grow up. That'd be like the coolest job. But then I ended up getting into board games because in some ways it's like easier. You don't know how to code. You don't know how to have to code, and it's just it's a lot less overhead in terms of costs. You don't have to develop things. I mean, obviously you do have to develop things, but it's like when I want to design a new board game, like I can sit down and write a few things and like make a prototype in like a day, right? We can't do that with video games. It takes like months and months and months. So yeah, and I was never good at programming. So anyway, I ended up going into board games. But yeah, then it's cool to like sort of see my creation end up becoming a video game anyway.
It's also easier to actually, like, if something's wrong in a video game, to fix it. You can just patch it and it's done, rather than release an errata or say, hey, take this card out.
That's true. Yeah. On the other ends, yeah, board games become a lot more difficult when you need to tweak things after they've already been published.
Talk about the new expansion you're selling here at PAX East.
Sure, yeah. The Forgotten Circles is the first expansion. It just adds 20 new scenarios to sort of the end of the campaign in the main game. So it's meant to be played like once you've completed that giant box full of content. And there's also one new character class, the Diviner, who's very support-based. She doesn't have a lot of damage, but she can do lots of like cool, crazy things like teleport around and mess with the monsters and sort of look into the future to see what they're going to be doing.
Now, since your huge, explosion of your board game and now digital version of game and expansions, I'm curious, has your company ever been approached to do like an animated series? I mean, where's your Netflix series? That's what I want to know.
There have been people who have approached us about that. So we'll see. Maybe it'll happen in the future.
Where can people find more information about your games and your digital ones?
So cephalofair.com is a good place to go. And yeah, so you can sign up for a newsletter, which I send out like once a month or so. Lots of information on that. So yeah, just come to the website or follow me on Twitter, cephalofair, @cephalofair on Twitter. I post stupid things.